Put the Twitch link in. Oh. The door has opened. We are here. We have arrived on the scene. Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Yeah, it says that we can't hear you. I'm going to check from my end here. Let's see if I can hear you. If I can hear you. I can definitely hear myself. So now I will be reading some sonnets. Beech wood on the grassy knoll. Sit atop the tree. Eat a piece of pie. Call forth the winds of the grandfather. The grandfather is alive. You know, I tried really hard at a lot of things.
Check. Ah, there we go. Okay.
Oh,
now we're in business.
Good. I was about to. We about went down a whole rabbit hole there for a minute.
Sorry, everybody. If I could show you this, I would. I got my Go XLR here, and it's been a learning curve with this.
Oh, yeah?
It's very odd because you're pushing everything through here, only to turn around and go back out. And
yeah, the mixers and stuff are kind of kooky.
What I do love about it, though, is you have different sound pads. So I've started loading it with sound effects from the show. So randomly, as I'm streaming, I can push a button and have like Susie or Ella speak, or the Teddy Bears Picnic play.
It's like you're a radio DJ and you can press little buttons to be like live music, that kind of stuff.
That almost sounded like the Family Matters theme song.
I can't recall the Family Matters theme song, so that's why you need to sing it for me.
Did you do? It's a little bit like that.
Okay, good. It's immediately recognizable.
How is everybody? Is my microphone okay? This is a new setup with an old microphone. My new Shure SM7B microphone isn't here yet.
This is my 5-year-old microphone I used when I was in a band and had to set up for gigs. And it's probably going to die any day. Any day it could keel over.
In my youth, I was in a band. I remember those times fondly.
Fondly, yes.
How is everyone tonight? As you can see, it's Dave and myself. Tom is not with us. He's currently going through a physical with good old Mr. Bigglesworth, our Mr. Handy. He's been extremely busy at work. He's going to float by the screen for a second in just about the most amazing CGI possible.
Oh my!
Isn't that incredible? Look at the 3D.
Holy mackerel!
We had him specially made by the best Apple IIe computers money could buy.
Wow, that is amazing.
Carry on.
I'm amazed. He seems like less of a D-wad. when you
it's true.
He's been pretty. He's been a little strange as of late. I don't think he's talked to us here much recently.
I'm not donating it. That's mine. Right. Well, welcome to the show. We're a little off kilter because Dave and I usually don't take the lead. So this is.
That's true.
But true to form, we'll start off with the same thing that we always do, which is going right to Dave on the streets.
Dave on the streets.
Dave on the streets. Mix 98.5.
KRT 105. It's Dave in the streets here talking to you about the best Fallout 76 and Bethesda news today.
The everyday, the best
day.
days.
For the whole time, that's going to hurt me. More than just physically, it's going to hurt me emotionally. As anyways, this is your Charleston Herald here, bringing you the latest news of Fallout 76. We're gonna start small. We have some small apples. We're gonna start with those like ripe fruits, and we're gonna pick them. This is why you need to watch the live versions because I use a lot of hand motions and signals. We're gonna pick those ripe fruits, and then we're getting into some meteor. There's like apples on a tree, and then there's steak in the tree. We'll get to that steak later. First,
why is there steak in the tree?
Don't ask questions, Ken. Don't try to inform the news about the news. This is a serious issue. Unless we call on the gumshoe, we're good.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, Project Bravo is now live. So this runs, I think, through the first part of September. Right now, I think they just finished up wood yesterday for collections of wood. Now we're starting, I believe, cloth, moving on to leather and onto glass, which I think altogether is a lot easier to get than concrete and cork.
Yeah. It also brings up some weird conspiracies. What the hell does the Brotherhood of Steel need with that much cork?
I think that they all have their own scrap boxes, and they're like, okay, we're gonna be crafting a ton of stuff. We're gonna try to roll these Gauss miniguns for everybody when we get here because we know that they have them, and they're just like stockpiling stuff. And I think there's like a Project Delta that they're probably like, all right, now we need legendary modules. We need screws. We need like 2 million screws. And if you don't get 2 million screws, then we're just going home.
I think they're coming
my
all the
theory.
way out to Appalachia to form a big band.
Just like a big.
That's right. That's
like
why
it.
they're the outcasts. They said technology, psh, we're in a band.
Musicals. Yeah, musical instruments. We'll get some. Build a stage. No, that maybe they're throwing like a festival, like a music festival. So they're
That
like,
could be.
they have a dome there. They'll probably do some performances in. What kind of songs would the Brotherhood of Steel or members of the Brotherhood of Steel in any way sing? What would be their songs?
Bittersweet T61B? T51B?
T61.
That would
I'm
be
thinking,
funny. I embarrassed myself there.
probably something like, I don't know. They probably play the steel drums.
That's a good point.
They
Chattanooga
probably do
Pridwin?
Chattanooga. Well, as things do end, like this strange joke segment, the legendary run is ending officially on September the 8th. So we've had I guess it's been 3 months. Time does not mean anything to me. Time is stopped. I went to go wish my friend a happy birthday the other day, and it was like 3 days after the birthday, and it was a strange time. But the other thing that is stopping is on September the 8th, which I believe is next Tuesday, the legendary run will officially end.
How did
Ken,
you do?
how far did you get? We haven't actually talked to you about
We did not.
how far you've gotten and what you think of the legendary run here at the end.
I finished it last week, and I mean, which was pretty good because I didn't get a chance to play half as much as everybody else. I did with my Fallout First Atoms by whatever. I redeemed one of them for levels when it was, I think that was a while ago, three weeks ago or so, just to get as far as I could there. And then I just finished the rest. I didn't spend too much more than that. So whatever those free atoms are, I think it's 1,800. That's what I spent towards the board because I knew otherwise, with the amount of time that I do have to play, I wouldn't get it. But I love the lunch boxes. Those are awesome. The effects that they give, particularly confetti, is
the confetti
such a
one's
fun.
crazy.
It's awesome. And then also to the end, the reason that I wanted to complete it is that fireplace secret door is just awesome. It looks really good. For Halloween, I want to do like a mystery, a murder mystery evening with our group to do some kind of fun scripted event. So to build a house and have like secret passages would be kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about. I try to plan. See, the thing about camps is I'll build a camp and then I won't be happy with it, and I'll go back and I'll build another one, and then I'll build another one. And now I've limited myself to be like, okay, listen, once a season, they're doing this seasons thing where they have like summer, fall, winter. You build it once, you don't change anything in it for the season. It's like this season it's this home, or else it's like every 2 weeks I'm going back, I'm changing things, I'm doing things over. So I'm interested to when they start with a new patch and everything, to go back and try to build more stuff with the things that I've earned through the legendary run.
Yeah.
Especially that fireplace secret door. I'm pretty excited about. I did see. I think you posted it online where somebody had made they had made the board, but much larger, using some. They used that starry wallpaper, but then some signs that they had made into the little tracks that that looks like the board game itself.
Yeah, that was amazing.
People are coming up with some creative stuff.
You accumulate so much stuff between that run and then stuff from the Atomic Shop. Thematically, you can build all kinds of different stuff. I mean, I've seen Midwestern saloons. I've seen with there's a circus with the zoo carts. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do now.
I've run into some pretty good train camps here recently that I've seen that people are building like just on train tracks and using those train cars.
Yeah.
And then like managing to hide stuff. so that it seems like it's a part of the train, but it's not. I did run into an obstacle course the other day that was amazing. I need to post pictures of it. It looks so entirely out of place because it's like tight ropes that you're just going across, and so it was like the circuitry, I don't know the terminology for it, but it's essentially that static circuitry that's like a pipe just like running all around.
Oh, the conduit. Like yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm interested to see what people are building. I bought that junkyard pack, and I want to build those junkyard fences. But then it's like in my head, it's like, do I just want to build a junkyard, or is that, it's because I have a lot of junk. I have a lot of junk in my trunk, and I want to put it out for people to see. All right.
On a very special episode of the Fallout Hub. Dave raises money for charity by showing it all.
Moving on to a theme relevant to that, a colossal problem, which that would be, is finally live, and we have some tips and tricks. And I believe that, Ken, you are the gumshoe in the field. You have donned your trench coat again and have received your monocle and pipe, and you have been going out and doing whatever gumshoes do. I don't even know what verbiage they use, but they're out there.
Well, to be fair, I'm not an expert on Earle at all. But one of the interesting things that the data miners figured out based on the game files, and that YouTuber Tier had done a video on last night that I reshared, is some of the add-ons to armor, particularly poison, fireproofing through asbestos, I guess negate completely any of the falling embers or the poison damage, which in particular for me, as a bloodied build, it's brutal in there. I'm dying constantly, to the point that most of the time I haven't even finished it because I will die before, just as Earle is dying, because I'm waiting for that stupid 60-second respawn timer. So I get stuck outside, and then I end up not getting anything from the event, which is silly. So I'm going to modify my armor to be able to at least last in there a little bit longer. It's a little brutal.
Yeah, here's the thing. Before, like probably the week before we sat down and talked with the people at Bethesda, I had changed my build from a bloody to a junkie. So I just said, you know what? It's pretty easy to get a bloody build, and a junkie's build requires some effort and some different things, but there's a lot more diversity to the things you can do.
Yeah.
So when you're a bloodied, you have to have unyielding, or the I forgot the damage resistance type that it generally has. You pretty much don't ever want to get in a power armor because
right,
it's not that worth it. Whereas junkies, you can easily go through both. So I did it in anticipation that there was going to be this Wendigo situation. So when I went to first do it, it was literally way easier than the Scorch Beast Queen. I just sat in a corner. Everything fell on me in my power armor with my junkies, plasma, Gatling, whatever. All the Wendigos attacked me. They all ganged up on me, and I just brushed it off. It was so liberating. And you know what? I didn't kill him as fast as I probably should, or as maybe efficiently, and wasted probably like 8 plasma cores just in one run. But it was liberating. Everyone else was dying, and I'm just standing there taking it all. I finally understand the benefits of tanking in this game, and this event really requires somebody to tank a lot of the enemy.
Yeah, I think from now on,
like, what were you saying?
I'm gonna start bringing my Gatling plasma and try that, which is what I usually do at the Queen, because otherwise, if I try and melee her with a Deathclaw Gauntlet, I die a lot. If we played a drinking game with how many times I die on a typical Friday night, there are plenty of people in chat who can attest to the fact that they would be on their way to the hospital.
Yes. the larger bosses tend to get you pretty fast if you're right near them, especially the Scorch Beast Queen, because there's inherent lag, and so you can just get lost in the moment. And if you're not paying attention, things kind of slow down, especially if there's a lot of people in the same area. And it's very easy to not pay attention to the mole rat that is probably going to kill you in that event. It's not going to be the Scorch Beast Queen. It's going to be like the little bottom feeders that are just like slowly like ticking away at you, just kind of gnawing on your feet a little bit.
Mole
Death
rat.
by feet gnawing is something that would happen.
It happens to me a lot. I'll be in my Pip-Boy, and a mole rat that followed me halfway across the map just Leroy Jenkinses me from behind, and I'm instantly dead. It's kind of an embarrassing way to die, to be honest. With Earle Williams though, what did you think of the concept of the event itself, and even some of the story behind it?
Yeah, so I've done it maybe I think 3 or 4 times now. So the one thing that I think people were talking about pretty much a month after 76 came out is like, okay, we have the Scorch Beast Queen in the Cranberry Bog. We want legendary monsters that are unique events that when you nuke an area come out. And so people were like, what if you nuked Point Pleasant and the Mothman came and it was like a super powered Mothman? And I think this is kind of getting that feedback and then fulfilling that prophecy of like, okay, this is what they're going to do for in-game events. This is how you're going to launch a nuke. It's going to land on a location and it's going to start this like crazy raid boss battle. There's parts of it that I really like. I like that when you get there, there's like a waiting phase. It's like everybody's like getting around and it's like, okay, I'm here at the event. It's like you've gotten to the party like 5 minutes early and the show, the Super Bowl hasn't started. So you're just like hanging around, eating chips, getting your drink on, and you're kind of waiting for it. And then when it goes down, I wearing power armor, I'm fine, but everybody dies immediately when they the shaft because everyone's a bloody build.
That happened to me the first time. Yeah. I'm like, yay! Oh.
I think it's way easier to track the monsters within. Like you can lose track of the Scorch Beast Queen, and it's impossible to sometimes get a shot off. You can shoot anything that you want to down. Like it's not. You don't get lost very easily because it's just a big arena. As far as gameplay, I think it's way better than the Scorch Beast Queen as an event. There's a lot more that you have to think about. You have to be more strategic, because you can't like spawn your tent and sit on top of it and just like, okay, now she's down, now I shoot her. It's like, not only are you dealing with the Wendigo, you're looking for when he has the, his neck ball sack popping out. I'm trying to shoot that. You're watching for spawns. You're watching.
Oh God, they're enlarging! Run!
Yeah. You're watching for all of these different. You're having to micromanage yourself in that situation, and so gameplay wise, I really like it. Story wise, I think obviously the stakes. And I'm not sure what, we've talked about this in the last episode, I think, but I'm not sure what the stakes are. The stakes for the Scorch Beast Queen are very high because, lore-wise, once you kill the Scorch Beast Queen, then it's like we all celebrate and yell and the Scorch plague is over, kind of. At least that's what it's alluded to in the lore. With the Wendigo Colossus, it's not as dire, so I kind of like that. It's more this like weird mutation and with the whole cannibalism and the lore behind Wendigos, I think it's a little more realistic that this like massive person just got lost in the mines and has become this thing.
Yeah, this awful monstrosity. I thought the construction of the space is really interesting. That waiting part, like you said, it kind of amps you up. It's almost like you're in sports and it's that anticipation where you're getting ready to run onto the field. Mm-hmm. There's like that build up. And the way that you drop down too is a little funny. It almost feels like old school gaming where you're like jumping down on these levels on little platforms so you don't die at the bottom. The way that is kind of cool. But the fight
Yeah, it has like
itself,
a Doom feel to it, where you jump down and then the music starts and it's like, all right, let's kill some Wendigos.
yeah, that the hordes of Wendigos is just insane. And then even the ending bit when you finally kill him and you're booking it out of there and there's explosions and robots like, excuse me, I have to kill you. And more Wendigos that are just being exploding or slashing out at you as you're trying to run out of the place. My biggest problem is I keep forgetting to bring a radiation suit. So I'll end up outside and be like, oh God, run. Oh.
That's happened to me where I get out and one time I was just wearing power armor and I just like grabbed all the screws because that's what the end is for me is how many screws can I grab before I leave this event because I always need screws. And so I get out of the power armor because I can run faster because generally anytime I'm in power armor I'm over encumbered because with the backpacks and the weight reduction stuff it's way easier to traverse when you've got regular armor. So I stay kind of over encumbered for that fight. So that's why it's like that race out at the end. I have a love-hate relationship for it.
Yeah.
Because I wish I had more time to, I wish that I had more time to get screws. It's kind of like, at the end of Guy's Grocery Games in the Food Channel, where they're going through the aisles and they've got 2 minutes to get the particular item, and they're like, this paste goes well on any hot dog and is also red, and they're like,
oh my God,
and they're running, right. There's kind of that element to it, this like risk reward. But I'm not sure what the risk is other than the event closing. So I haven't. I eventually on the second and the third and fourth time I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna run out of here. I'm just gonna collect screws until the event's over.
I noticed
it has all my inventory with me.
Yeah, people get kicked out of it at the if you just wait till the end as opposed to running out, but which you can do too. Yeah, I liked how they did that. It's an interesting use of the instancing technology. Interesting use of the way that that finally has started being employed more in game to create a really unique experience where you get put in a different instance with a different group.
And I like that all of the enemy, like if Joe Sock 69 kills a Wendigo, like you can loot that Wendigo even if they're not on your team.
Yes.
Like it's all.
Yep.
I kind of wish that was the way it was for the whole game. Though I have been running into some interesting glitches with apparently I learned this from a listener to the show. I was playing with him the other day, and he said that sometimes if a body is out, the body like container will decompose or not computer graphics wise gameplay. It will go away, but the items will still be there, and it'll just drop as the items. So the items are like Fallout 4 style, just like here's some ammo, here's some sludge in like a tiny little pile, not actually in the container of like whatever the meat clod is or what have you. So I mean, I'm down for those items dropping like that because then everybody can get a.
That's random.
It happens on some of the servers I've been to where it's just like enemies die and they just like explode into ammo.
I haven't seen that on PC.
Kooky.
Maybe it's
PlayStation 4. Maybe that's one of the lunchbox effects on the confetti. It's like confetti and everything else.
And surprise, the body vanishes into the ether, and ta-da! Here's a typewriter and some guns.
Nutty. Last point on the Colossal Problem, and the thing that people have been complaining about and screaming to high heaven about is if you're under level 50, probably shouldn't be there. You probably shouldn't come to the Wendigo, Dingo, Dango, Dongo time.
Yeah, people have been getting
you're not going to survive.
Pretty angry about that. I remember there was a day just rants filled on Reddit about that. Open letters galore. Rant letters. Which We haven't done one of those in a while. That would be a good one.
That would be a good one. I have a good one saved for today.
Sweet.
One of the ways, and if you're listening to the show, one of the ways that I source them, so, behind the scenes here, I source those letters from predominantly Reddit, just by looking for keywords. The most common one that I find a good one on is rant. And I'll skip over most of them, but sometimes I find one and I'm like, yep, this is the one. And I'll slightly change a few things to make it more readable. So good. People are very creative with their trashing of the game and their problems. Moving on into the next piece of news, we got some info from Gamescom, and I've kind of collected a little bit of stuff here and there. They did a developer interview, I believe, and did some just general gameplay of 76. And that was run by the Bethesda Germany team, I believe.
Yep.
But they had Jeff Gardner and Emil. I can't pronounce his last name, but I can't either. I think he's the project lead on Starfield now, because he was like, I'm project lead on an unannounced game, and
everyone's like, wink, wink, nod, nod.
It's the Starfield man. Get him.
He has secrets.
He knows. I want to go to space, Mr. Emil. Take me there. So some of the interesting, I guess, tidbits from that is they were asked about public test servers on consoles, and they confirmed that they are not going to do that, that they're just going to have the PC public test server, essentially because of the resources of having different builds.
Right.
And I kind of have here, I work more in application development. That's a little bit of, in order to I make maps, but in order to read a map, you generally have to have it on an application on a computer outside of getting a piece of paper. So if you're to have those versions, you're having your 3 production builds, which are everything you're playing: Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. And then you're having your non-production build, which is your PTS, and then you're having your development build, which is what they're playing in the office to QA everything. So that would bring them up to a total of 9 different instances that they would have to manage, and I think 7 is enough. For reference, Elder Scrolls Online doesn't have public test stuff for consoles. They've never had that.
Right. Yeah.
So next thing, and in Pikachu shocked face, pets are coming to Fallout 76.
I was so excited.
Though there's no official date or window, but Bethesda has said that they really want them in the game, and they mentioned cats and dogs in the stream. So eventually, pets. Though we will ignore the leak of the different pet emotes that came out a few months ago.
One day soon, Mittens the Raider cat is going to be at my camp.
Yeah, what if you could have like one creature from the wasteland as a pet? What would it be? Or the Appalachia, or whatever they're calling it. Everybody's saying they're from Appalachia, and I'm like, but are you?
What would be a good one? I kind of like sloths. In fact, every time I kill one, especially there's one that you run into where the babies have just been murdered. It's like, oh, the sloths are they're kind of quiet, and they're fine until you're like, yay, I'm gonna kill you, and then they get irritated. But they're just kind of chilling in a tree, doing their sloth thing, living their sloth life as best they can, mutated and everything, and then along you come and they shoot their magic mushrooms at you.
I was about to say, they're kind of like the big daddies of Fallout 76, where they're just minding their own damn business. They're just hanging around. If you don't bother them, they don't bother you. I started to think about pets, and I think a rad possum. What if I just had like a possum that's just like, this is my possum, and name him something like Mortimer, Bartholomew, some like outrageous name, Nebuchadnezzar. Possum, Nebuchadnezzar. What else do we have? Patch 22 is coming out in September. I'm curious when in September it's going to come out, because the season ends on the 8th, though there's been rumors that maybe it's the 15th. They haven't put an official date on when that patch is coming out.
Yeah, I didn't see a confirmation on that. Just today, they finally announced when the legendary run would be over. but
I'd imagine that's going to be pretty soon after that.
probably.
So I can see them doing that next day, but realistically, I see 15 more of a day to put that out there, because next week is a holiday week. So you're gonna Labor Day.
Speaking of,
that sounds silly, but
the one thing that they did mention that was interesting, and I think it's an interesting way to go about it. They've been trying to find ways to keep players logging in and staying connected to the game. And unlike Wastelanders, which was one huge drop, they did say during the Bethesda Germany stream that they're going to be spacing out the Brotherhood of Steel content.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be one big drop and, you can play the whole thing in a day and be done with it. There's going to be little bits and pieces of it each week. So it'll give everybody a reason to get back in game, in addition to the next legendary run. Not the legendary, the score system thing that they're doing.
I kind of like that, and I think that it's interesting to see this RPG kind of rolling out in real time. We really haven't had. I guess the closest example is the stuff that they do with Fortnite sometimes, where it's like over the course of a season they'll tell a particular story.
Yeah.
But with just a straight up RPG, you don't see this, and I'm really invested into what that storyline will be. I was really into the Sheep Squatch stuff when they kind of, I guess, tested that out a little bit, where they had, 1 week it's this, and everybody was collectively trying to solve this mystery about where the Sheep Squatch was, and is there a Sheep Squatch? And it's like, no, but then somebody leaked a photo of a Sheep Squatch, and you're like, is this it, or is this just like a hairless death claw? The debate around that is so much fun, and I'm glad to be a part of a weekly podcast, because that gives us more stuff to talk about.
Yes, indeed.
The other thing that they mentioned was that shelters are coming, which they have talked about before, and it seems like from their wording that they're going to use that as a way to expand the camp system. So I think that instead of thinking about budget, this is just my analysis. They didn't actually say this, but instead of thinking about budget, I think they're going to focus on implementing this instance camp shelter situation and I guess spreading it out, making it more robust as we go along. And so that's going to kind of hone it in for them, which I think would be easier to do rather than having, more room for things in your actual physical camp that you see in the world, where it's like, come to my basement, I've got a cool train set, which is not creepy at all.
There was a guy on our street to my basement.
There was a guy in our street that I grew up on that had a train set in his basement, and for years and years I didn't go down even when I was a kid. But I was on a cross country team, and we were running through my neighborhood, and the guy stopped us, and we're all 17 at the time. He's like, "Hey, come into my basement. I've got this really cool train set." And I was like, "You know what? I will." And guess what? There was in his basement a really cool train set, and that was it. That's how I almost died one day.
A lot of no sleep horror podcast stories start like that.
What if there was a podcast genre where there was no sleep horror podcast, but they always ended uneventfully? There was a big setup for something, but then it was and in the night we opened the closet, and there were the shoes.
There's someone calling from the house, but it's a house in India. You're fine. They literally have no way of getting over here. You're all right. Oh, phew.
I think the last piece of news that I have is a preview for the next season. They've updated some of the looks like the treasure hunters in the game. That event seems like it's coming back. That's been on the PTS.
It is.
And you know what it reminds me of, Ken? And I know that you're a fan of this series. It reminds me of loot goblins from Diablo.
Yes.
And I'm really excited for that. I really like how games have... Diablo 3 is probably one of the most influential games next to maybe Dark Souls of this modern generation. Because, most of your your live service games are running off of stuff from Diablo that they were already doing. But I guess they're doing another treasure hunter event, but I would just like them all the time. Like, you never know. Like, it could
That's what
spawn.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. So they're coming back and they're staying. It's not a limited time event. They said that they're going to permanently add them. Yeah. Which is going to be amazing. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. They are just like those little goblins. In fact, when I kill one, I just wish they would explode into coins. That would be amazing.
Well, I mean, maybe the glitch can happen, and then
or permanently explode into confetti.
What if they have like 50 caps on them, and it's just like caps everything? It's an explosion of caps. One of the other things that that we really haven't talked about is some of the balance changes that are happening. People are upset over that. There's a lot of vitriol to the discussion around, I guess, what is the great nerf of 2020.
I thought about this. Let's play a game.
Okay.
Let's play old school high school debate.
Okay.
Which side would you like to be on?
I always like to do the side that I don't agree with. So I'm going to do this nerf is really terrible.
Okay. That works.
Okay.
Prepare your opening statement. Let the debate begin.
Okay. Who goes first?
Oh, you can go first.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I have worked a long time and put in a lot of hours to this game. As a person that really has been supporting this game from day one, I have worked very hard on maxing out my bloodied build. I have looked for a number of different weapons that have taken me hours for. Now, some people may have duped. Some people may have gotten these hacked weapons and gotten them. It hasn't been me. I have gotten all of these weapons realistically, and when I take my multitude of drugs and magazines that I have collected by my own steam, I'm expecting to do game-breaking damage. There is a reason. This is a thing within Bethesda games where you can break the game to do an insane amount of damage, and that is a part of it. That is integral to the Bethesda experience, and this nerf destroys that piece, which I have worked diligently for in the Bethesda game experience. My opening statement.
I am a synth simp for September. I am on the opposite side of this. I feel like we have become, over the course of this game, the roads that we have walked, the paths we have tread, the weapons we have picked up, the runs that we used to do at the White Springs, picking up numerous overpowered legendaries back in the day. We have become extremely powerful, to the point that most of the game is a walk in the park. There's a level 50 Deathclaw. Out of my way. There's a queen. Let's kill it in 10 minutes or less. There's Earle with the right perks and the right build. You can kill him in 20 seconds. We have become very powerful. Now, there are new players coming to the game all the time, but there's a massive ocean between new players and existing players, where you have a bold, overpowered, godlike race of original players since beta, who love to tell you that they've been playing since beta. And you have new people coming to the game and be like, hey, I just got Xbox Game Pass. I'm new. Can you help me? Ha ha ha, no. So there's this massive gap in between people. A lot of the weapons that came out in the original game that have now been made Legacy have been made so because if everybody's running them with their overpowered damage, it literally breaks the game, which of course ruins the experience for all. So a rebalance to make the game a little harder for us that have been doing it for a while isn't a bad thing. And then also for people coming new to the world, if they want to tag along with, their big brother, their adopted, steel-clad, clanking, cluttering uncle or brother from another mother, they can do that, and everyone can get a hit in, and it'll be good. Rebuttal.
Rebuttal. Personally, Kenneth VIGUE, you have mentioned that you think this game is a walk in the park. Well, let me tell you, I enjoy walks in the park. It's some of my favorite activities to do. And by George, if they're taking away my park walks to adapt to these new players that aren't as... I think I lost the debate. I think I've gone as far as I can. I think this is where my train ends. I think I lost it. I think the charade is dropped.
This concludes the Appalachia debate. Yeah, I understand the other thing, just to come out on the opposite side of the fence. I think a lot of players who, like you said, put in a lot of effort into all of this, you enjoy feeling really powerful. You go for that, and that's kind of a goal, to have the perfect build to deal ridiculous amounts of damage. There's some ego and bragging rights in being able to do that, even in previous games, where you'd get to a point where you'd have these massively overpowered weapons, and you could just nuke stuff from orbit or download something off the Nexus, where you could summon the Helios 1 ray using the Equid Finder with like 15 times the damage and just obliterate anything. There's a lot of fun to that. It makes it challenging to do that in a live service game, but I think a lot of the pushback is people looking at the numbers about how it affects their build, not realizing it affects everyone's build. So it's across the board, not just a nerf to bloodied or junkies, which was a lot of confusion in that first day. I think a lot of posts, it didn't really, the numbers when the data miners dug into it kind of explained it a little better.
I miss, like, part of me misses the low level experience of having encounters be particularly challenging. To me, there's no middle ground between a very easy encounter and a very, oh my god, like when it's like a bunch of Mirelurk kings and they're after me, it's like I'm just dead. It doesn't matter what build I am, I'm just immediately dead. To have some sort of like middle ground between that, I think will make those encounters that are really tough and challenging feel better. So I listen. Most recently, let me tell you about my good Lord and Savior, the Gauss shotgun. The Gauss shotgun is here to deliver us from the great age that we had known. This is called Make Shotguns Great Again. That is the TSC shotgun. The TSC shotgun was a great and powerful shotgun, but now we have the Gauss shotgun, and if you're a junkies build, you're gonna have some high health. You get the explosive damage from all that stuff. Let me tell you something. Shotguns are back in because not only does it have great damage potential, it has great range too. So you can treat it like a rifle. Now, the only problem with the Gauss shotgun build right now is you still have the rubber banding that all shotguns have. All shotguns rubber band damage, and I think, now I haven't tested. I don't know. I'm just a small town lawyer here, but what I'm trying to say is, I think this nerf and how they calculate damage is going to get rid of that rubber banding. And let me tell you something, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I run into that too, where there will be, like, you run into a feral ghoul and it won't be overpowered at all. And it takes me sometimes 3 hits with the Deathclaw Gauntlet, and I'm doing like, it's like 1,200 damage. It takes a few hits before it even registers and goes down. So I think you're right. I think that maybe fix that. Obviously, I'm doing more damage than the server can respond to in a short period of time. So you get that irritating lag where it's not registering. which I think could be one of the fundamental problems with VATS and maybe why VATS has been so broken. I know if I try and use VATS in Melee, it only works a fraction of the time. Sometimes it just won't respond at all, and I'm like, I'm trying to smash the key to like, okay, I'm not going to do VATS. Let me just hit it, for Christ's sake.
I was pretty close to making a compilation video of Gauss shotgun VATS because the VATS system with particularly Gauss shotguns does not work. So I can be like here with my gun pointed out. Oh, we're gonna have a little thing here, and then the robot is here, and if I shoot him, it'll go boop. So it's like playing XCOM, and you have like 95% hit, and then you miss every time you shoot, and it's like right in front of you. That's how using VATS with the Gauss shotgun is.
That's working as intended, though. It's going back to the original Fallout 1 style of VATS, where you try and shoot something, it would be standing right in front of you, and you have to drive 5 times. A classic.
Classic problem.
It's a classic Fallout.
Yeah, to wrap it up, I mean, in the end, I'm pretty pro this balance change. I'm excited to it's going to make areas that I normally don't go more interesting. I think the forest is going to be way more interesting. I think that really the whole left side of the map is going to be way more challenging, and I'm curious what encounters are going to be more worthwhile on the other side of the map. Like there may be entirely like West Tech may be a place that gets trumped by something else on the other side. Like maybe, all of a sudden the teapot has become this great place for farming.
Or Arctos could be just really...
What if a farm was?
Arctos could be pretty brutal after this change. That would be interesting. Because it's already, I die a lot in there. That would be like brutal.
I'm excited. I'm ready for it. Bring it on. It'll be way easier for people getting into the game to kind of have that. I think that for people that are coming back to do Brotherhood of Steel stuff, because I think that's going to get even a lot more people back than Wastelanders. Wastelanders is kind of your foot in the door, and the Brotherhood of Steel is kind of like, okay, now we're doing like the Fallout stuff that like we're back to doing it this way. And I think people are going to come back from that, and it'll be good to have the one day. Let's look at the time. I believe that we have time finally for the Fallout 101 section that we have been saving up.
Fallout 101.
This Fallout 101, we are getting into the reputations. So, Kenneth, how's your reputation with the Foundation and Raiders, or have you gotten that far?
Well, let me tell you, I can't stand the Settlers, but my reputation with them is currently way better than the Raiders for reasons beyond understanding. I think because I've done a lot of Wade's fetch quests, maybe, but yeah.
I've been noticing that I think that they must have tweaked some of Wade's fetch quests and how it registers experience, because it was way harder to do Raider rep, and I even finished the main quest siding with them. And it was like a real grind to get them all the way up, but the settler stuff seemed pretty easy. Though I was very tired of taking pictures of just like going down into the basement of the settler camp and taking a picture of Paige, being like, "Hey Paige, can we get a photo of you?" Or like, "Hey Meg, we get a photo of you?" Or like, "We get a power generator? Can I get a photo of that?" So that is the first way to get reputation. We're going to be talking about how you can maximize your efforts, because if you're done with the season, that's one more thing to grind for. We've got all the details of how to do it correctly. A lot of this stuff is daily. I don't think any of it is weekly, but everything resets within 24 hours. And it's 24 hours of when you finish it, I'm pretty sure. Which is kind of strange, so things can get off kilter a little bit if you're not. Listen, when it comes to this kind of stuff, my father always said that the 5 P's are very important, which is proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. Oh wait, that's 6 P's, sorry. So the first one of the quest to do in your daily quest is Davenport's photos. We often think that, Davenport, he doesn't have anything interesting for us. Well, Davenport, over in the overseer's house, is able to get you some faction rep, basically by him giving you a quest to go take pictures of something, and then you taking those pictures, and instead of giving them to Davenport, giving them the rival faction. Then you can go back and lie to Davenport and say that you lost them and get some caps. That's a great way of sabotage and espionage within it. You can do that for both factions in there, so it doesn't matter. You just pick whichever one you're going to take pictures of. That's the one that you're not going to get any settler rep from, or not settler rep, just faction reputation. Moving on, we've got raiders. You've got the communication with Rin. That one's kind of hit or miss. Not hit or miss. The dialogue for it is not exactly clear, but for the most part, with all of these, you're going to want to donate to the Foundation or Raiders. You don't need 60 caps. You need the reputation more than you need caps, because 60 caps is very easy to get. If you need 60 caps, literally just add me on PSN and I will give them to you. This is a one-time coupon. This is not for
you got to quickly add an asterisk to that, Dave.
Yeah, it's a one-time coupon, and once it's done, and it may already be done, you never know. Next thing is a retirement plan with Roxy. Now, there's one thing that you need to make sure that you say when you go to her, and this one's not clear either. It's that Appalachia has a new corpse. For some reason, that's the dialogue that gets you more faction reputation when you finish the quest. When they're like, "Hey, did you take care of that raider?" And you're like, "Appalachia has a new corpse." Which is like, okay, I like you just a smidge better by you saying that. Those are the two raider quests. Then there's the Ohio River Adventures. The first time you go to Ohio River Adventures, which is over on the Ohio River. No, I'm kidding. It's on the I believe eastern side of the map, kind of east of Charleston, Flatwoods, that area. You go there, and they're being invaded by Mirelurks, so you kill them, and then after that Horde quest is done, then you can start delivering Mirelurk pieces. My favorite one to donate to get, I think it's like 50 points of faction rep. I may be wrong. The dailies are like 200, 300, 1,000 odd. They're like your main way of doing it. You can deliver one Mirelurk Queen meat though, and that's the one I like to do because I can just go to the quarry in the Cranberry Bog. There's always a Mirelurk Queen there. I kill her, get the meat, take it back, turn it in, call it a day. Here's your crab meat, sir or ma'am. Like me more.
You know what's so bad? I haven't done any of these.
Well, now you're learning.
I haven't taken any. I only just started finally making some progress with the main story. I've been so busy, I haven't had a chance to go through it. But like, I only just dealt with Rah at the steel mill. But yeah, I haven't been to the River Adventures, and I haven't taken any pictures for Davenport.
Yeah, River Adventures, I think if you aren't in the know, is kind of the weirder ones. And if you haven't done the quest for Davenport, just do them regular for the first 2 times. Like, just give them the pictures back, and that will get you plans for more lenses for in-game.
Oh.
So you can build, I think they have a 200mm lens and maybe another lens for it. I don't know, I did them. I got the plans because I'm a plan porter. Next up, so those are all kind of the, I guess, most consistent ways of getting reputation. Your best are the daily quest. Raiders just have the little extra thing for the Ohio River Adventures. Settlers, of course, have Ward with his vital equipment, and he loses things yet again. And you got to go get him, because by God, he loses one important tool a day. And I'm like, you're the head of security, dude. What's wrong with you? The other thing you have are random encounters, which could come in the form of settlers getting attacked by, or raiders getting attacked by animals, or a faction war battle, skirmish. Let's think of all kinds of different battle words, where you can fight for either side. Those tend to net the most experience, followed by the battles against scorched or animals, or sometimes it's a bunch of possums. And I find that one the hardest one, because you pretty much need to use VATS to find possums, because they're very small and they're in the grass. And I feel like that some people can handle some possums. I handle possums.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a settler. But there are some common areas that a lot of people have been using to essentially go there, and it's going to spawn a random event. It could be nothing. It could be one of these, but there are 3 places. Marigold Pavilion, which is near Point Pleasant. Slocum Joe's, which is near Flatwoods. And there's this one farm in the Toxic Valley, and I wrote it in here as Farm in the Toxic Valley. I, however, did not go back and redo these notes since this 101 was written a few weeks ago. But there is a farm somewhere out there in the Toxic Valley that you can go to.
Hey, folks, half the fun is the adventure.
That's true. You know, that's just the mystery. What farm could it be? Maybe you should go out the farm. This is very low netting of experience. It's like, I mean, doing a quest reward is like riding a stealth bomber, and these are like riding a scooter that your little sister has. A great measure of horsepower, I suppose.
Tricycle.
But those are all the best ways, I think, to get reputation experience. And if you do the daily quest, here's the thing. Let me give you some tips of the trade. I have max. I'm not trying to brag or anything. I have max rep in both of these factions. No real. Put that in the resume. So, if you have, I'm trying to think. If you have a time that you're like, I like to log in and play 76. Like if it's like, okay, once the kids go to bed at 10, I'm gonna log on, I'm gonna play a little bit. It only takes maybe 20 minutes to do all the daily quests. That's all you need to do. You don't need to do anything else. Let's say you've done all the Wastelanders content, you're kind of done with that. You're done with the legendary things. In essentially a month, you can go from 0 to 100 and get your max rep. I mean, it took me maybe a week and a half to get from the not the full love and like I'm Ward's best friend, the level right below that. It's from like 3,000 to 6,000. That's the final marker, I think, for the faction rep. I did that in a week and a half, just by going and doing dailies with Ward and doing the photograph thing. So it's not asking a lot, and it's very simple, especially if you want to fast travel. It's also very simple if you want to work those into your game. I always try whatever I know I'm gonna do next. I always try to fast travel to before I log off. So if it's like I know that I've got to go and repair stuff, but I want to do that tonight, so I just fast travel to camp and then quit. That way it's a reminder. But if you want to do faction quests, just fast travel to the crater or foundation, and you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing those now that the legendary run is over. Because I'm at the point where I have to pick a side. And I want to make sure I have max rep to get both rewards before I close a door and raid the vault.
You're not going to close the door entirely, even after. You're going to... I don't want to spoil anything for you, but you're not going to close the door entirely. You can still get the max rep rewards. You can still... It's like, listen, if I screw over a friend and I'm like, I killed your cat, like if I like ingratiate myself for 5 years or so and like become their house servant, this is a weird metaphor, but then they may forgive me. Don't kill any cats and don't become a house servant. This should be advice from me.
You heard it here first.
Well, let's get into a totally normal segment in which we have the soapbox. Ken, I have been doing a lot of talking today, so I would ask if you could take over and read this wonderful soapbox that we have.
I would love to, but it's going to require me to... I don't have a way to open it without closing our video window.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can read it as well.
I can mime it.
You can, yeah. You can. Play
I'll do an interpretive dance over here. I'll do that.
I think that makes sense. All right. All right. I'm getting out my little soapbox. Set it down, and now it is time. I'd like to recount my last visit to the settlement called Foundation. It was 4:40 a.m. I passed by Ward, fully awake, obviously on another coke binge, just muttering and ranting away. I'm imagining the amount of head trauma that his previous routine gave him, and I almost feel sorry for the guy. The other good folk of Foundation, for the most part, were asleep. It's hard work having to deal with the post-apocalyptic landscape, let alone the raiders that steal valuable tools from our good buddy Ward. Sleep is so precious to your physical and mental well-being. Anyways, all of a sudden I see a tall figure walk from behind a corner. He passes me nonchalantly with their hard hat firmly on, striding purposefully towards what now seems like their designated mailbox, hammer in hand, to start clanging and bashing away. This is the ultimate villain of Fallout 76. Foundation's biggest asshole hammering away on a post box that no one even uses. Imagine your neighbor starts whipping out a circular saw at 4 a.m. Not good. Getting the mailbox nice and hammered can certainly wait for a few more hours. I'm perfectly happy to live out in the wastelands with neighbors like that. Even scorched beasts tend to abstain from the noise that time in the morning. End rant.
And
I found that delightful.
That was
that was probably one of my favorite rants that I've read from the subreddit itself.
That's a good rant.
Yeah, everybody was saying that when they were launched Wasteland, are all the NPCs just going to be like hammering on nonsense? If you go to in 4, you go back to Sanctuary, you've got like Preston Garvey over there, just like on a wall with a hammer, just like banging it around. And turns out it's true.
I have seen some interesting things. I remember it was, I think, a month and a half ago. I was crawling like through the trenches of the Cranberry Bog because I was completely overloaded with loot and couldn't fast travel. So I was creeping along through the trenches, trying to avoid any issues. And I came across this settler who was just panning. And I was crouched and hidden. When he saw me, he would stand up and stop what he was doing. But if I was crouched and hidden, like I could watch him go through this whole ritual where he'd like go around and he's like poking around through the water and he gets out his gold panning thing and he starts doing that. And I felt like David Attenborough, like watching this whole beautiful, majestic scene play out in nature. And I was speaking as David Attenborough in my head. That was all.
I like some of the interaction with, I guess, some of the settlers that are surprised. They always seem very surprised that there is like dangerous creatures out there. They're like a mole rat comes and they're like, oh no.
It's all dramatic.
And then once they're dead, they're like, all right. I need some more food before I go back to the settlement.
Well, I guess it's time for some more sugar bombs. There's like bloody carcasses all over the ground. They're so nonchalant about it.
I'm curious if it's like nonchalant or if they have like some like memory. It's like their short-term memory is just like entirely shot from just living out in the wasteland for just so long. And they're
It's
like,
probably that.
I could be dying or I could be just walking around minding my own damn business.
Last night I had 2 really interesting interactions just wandering. I'm trying to find the perfect like flat space with maybe a parking lot and some existing cars to build a drive-in theater for September, which I thought would be fun. So I'm milling around on the roads. I ran into a raider who was trying to break into an old car, and he needed bobby pins. So I walked out to him, talked to him, and he's like, yeah, I need some bobby pins. I was like, well, here you go. Take all the bobby pins you want. He's like, oh, that's great. And he gave me a whole bunch of aid and plans as a reward for doing that. And then a little later on, like by White Springs, I came across a settler who was doing like kicking a tire on a semi, like just kicking a tire. Like I didn't even understand what she was trying to do with it. So she's sitting there kicking the tire, and I go up to her and she's like, get out of here. This is mine. And she's like going on and on. So she was so I killed her and ate her,
As you do.
as you do, and there's a lesson to be learned there.
And now being the junkie build that I am, anytime I go to the foundation, they're always like, "Hey man, listen, you look like you're on something, and you need some help." And it's that's like the static dialogue that they give me anytime I pass by everybody. So I'm constantly reminded that I'm a junkie.
That's
Anytime
awesome.
I go to foundation, where they're like, excuse me, sir, you are very high and you need to come down from this. This is not good. This is not what we want here. There is a problem with you. You are the problem."
Yeah, you are a major junkie.
Yes. Oh, goodness. Well, I agree. 4 a.m. hammering on a mailbox. This is the soapbox I can remain upon. Probably shouldn't be doing that.
My show started because of that very same thing. That first journal entry, somebody going into your house and then using your armor bench, banging away on it at 2:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was the first story.
Oh, the memories.
Memories.
Twinkling in the glistening eye of time. Speaking of the glistening eye of time, I think out of time this week. So, Ken, why don't you tell the good fine folks what you're up to, where to find you, and what kind of hair you are having today? I was trying to think of something fun, but this is the least fun thing I could think about.
I'm currently testing a new matte texture paste that I'm developing for a client. So there's a story that was unexpected.
I mean, I'm here for it. I forgot. I slipped my mind at the moment, but now, I mean, we get the up-to-date situation.
I'm feeling very casual about it. Very casual about this situation with my hair. You can find me at fallout76podcast.com, as well as on all social media platforms. We are working on our season 2 opener. And then this month, I finally wanted to get some role playing done before I actually get rid of that camp. So I'm going to be setting that up to invite people to do that with us this long weekend if they've got some time. So we'll be doing some role play where people can come join us and experience the Sickle Man before that episode. And then I'm going to finally tear down that camp and build something fun.
That sounds good.
What about you?
Yeah, you can always find me at Dave CHAFINZ and listen to the new show Geography Arcade, which is at Geography Arcade. I believe that this week, every week, here's the thing. Here's my little marketing tactic I'm going to share upon you. I'm going to let you peek behind. Every week, I'm going to give a little preview here of what's going to happen on this week's show. This week, we're talking about Pokemon, particularly some Meowth, and why the cat population of Hawaii has slowly buying all of the rats and seals in order to kill and maim them. These are the things that you can learn when you explore geography through the lens of video games.
Do you have questions that pop into your head when you're in the shower? This podcast is the show for you.
For you. It certainly is. It is within,
That's awesome.
Within that realm. Yeah, I miss doing the research with Vault Boys, and I miss doing the talk show bit with the Vault Boys, and now I get to do a talk show and a really strange research show. So
it's fun doing research like that into random stuff. Like I was researching Gogi art, or Googie, however you pronounce it, which is the art form, like the Wavy Willard sign. It's the art form for the atomic age, the way that they structured buildings and signs. I loved that style, but I didn't know it was like there was an actual term for it.
I stayed in a hotel in February when we went to Disney World. We went to Universal, and there was one of their like Universal hotels that near the thing, and it was in that style, and it was really cool. Where they had that like style of signage that was out there, like the Atomic Shop or Waverly Worlds, where it was like those like diamonds with the lettering, and it was all kind of neon, and they had this big circular area where cars could pull in with big glass windows, and then you walk inside, and it's all this like like futuristic 1950s like classy furniture, and on the TVs they're playing like they're playing shows from the 50s that Universal had made
that's
back
awesome.
then. It was really cool. It was way cooler than Disney hotels. Now I'm a shill for Universal. Go to Universal, buy a Harry Potter wand, get some butterbeer. I think that I've run out. I'm running on empty.
Well, that's all the time we have this week.
It is.
We'll check on Tom and make sure that good old Mr. Bigglesworth hasn't done a number on him with any sort of strange experimental surgery to send him to the Sierra Madre in a very overly complicated plot to break into a vault by shaving Tom's head and putting a voice box on him.
That's a hell of a thing. Hell of an activity for Tom this week.
Speaking of, one thing I wanted to remind everybody, because I started going through it myself, next month is the 10-year anniversary of Fallout New Vegas. So to celebrate, I've been reinstalling New Vegas and updating it with graphics for 2020 with some new shaders and stuff, which is a laborious process, but the game still,
an idea.
10 years later, it looks amazing still.
Here's an idea. We should just do like a Fallout New Vegas episode where all we talk.
We should. That would be amazing. We should do that for the anniversary. I think it's October 15th or 17th. I can't remember the exact day that's the 10-year anniversary, but that would be amazing.
Let's plan it. Tom's not here. He's busy with the robot, so I mean...
Tom's busy getting his head shaved and the voice box fitted, so we're making an executive decision in his stead.
We're making an executive decision, yes. With that being said, that is all of our time. I hope that you all have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
See you next time, Jazz Hands.